try to prosecute the murderers of these trans women as hate crimes, which has been done in the past, and he never even responded to the letter, which is extremely disappointing to me. But so yeah, there's a lot of issues out there for our community that I'm fighting for, and I want the Republican Party to do a better job.
I wonder if it's not just enough to prosecute someone for murder. Is that not enough? I mean, since, you know, everyone's an American and all lives are equal, the lives of transgender people and the lives of everyone are equal, why would it be enough just to prosecute murder?
Yeah, in 2008, Ken Buck, congressman from Colorado, was the first one to prosecute somebody under hate crimes. Obviously, the verdict is a lot more difficult, is a lot tougher on a hate crime issue than it is on just a regular murder. And too many times trans women who are murdered, they're almost brushed off to the side. A lot of times they think it's only a trans woman, you know, look what she was doing, or, you know, make excuses. And that's not the case. We need to protect all Americans, including my community. Well, so yeah, it's important that we get serious.
Well, but I agree with the first part of what you said completely. It's important to protect every American, but you can put yourself in the position of someone else. If someone you loved were killed, and the murderer received a lesser sentence because your loved one was not a member of the trans community, you'd say, well, that's kind of unfair. I mean, we're all Americans.
Yeah, it is unfair. But we've got other issues too. Our murder rate is just so high. Right now, we've got that I'm really concerned with. Kind of the next move for the Trump administration is Mark Green, who's a Republican from Tennessee. Senator, and he's up for Secretary of the Army. And this guy has come out with some of the most anti-LGBT statements ever, calling me, a trans person, as a disease. I had to tell Mark Green, I don't have a disease, okay? He called about fighting the bathroom issue as, the Bible tells me I have to go after evil, you know, and I'm not an evil person.
Okay, well, I'm not, I don't think anyone's suggesting that you're an evil person, but I do think there are some deep questions that people of goodwill and good faith can ask. So you've said in I think a pretty convincing way, you believed you were a woman from early in your life, from really in the beginning. You knew that this is who you were, but you couldn't come out and express it. Well, but does that mean that you believe that gender is biologically determined? Because that's kind of the opposite of what a lot of people are saying.
No, actually, a lot of people are saying it is genetic. I was born with this. You made a statement last time when you were with Jillian Weiss. You were coming up with this scenario of, a guy 35, all of a sudden, hey, I'm trans, and I'm going to go, be a woman now, and then I'm going to get federal funds for women's issues. That does not happen in the trans community. You are basically born this way. I've dealt with these issues since I was this big. It's not something that's just a whim. By the way, just hold on, just to be clear, I would never argue it was done on a whim. I don't believe that, and I didn't mean to suggest that. But I do think that there are real life issues around this question. And here's one of them. It has to do with sports, something that you know obviously very well. A transgender woman just won a major weightlifting title. And some people said, well, this is someone who has a massive physical advantage over the other entrants in that contest. And that seemed like a real thing to me. We're kind of getting off the subject of what I talk about in the book, because the talk about in the book is about my journey. But to answer that, the Olympic Committee is way ahead of the rest of the world when it comes to dealing with identifying transgender issues and competing. All the way back when I was competing in the 70s, all the women had saliva tests to make sure their DNA, that they were female, because we had the East German women and the Soviet women and all that kind of stuff. Well, since then, there has been a lot of kind of gender non-conforming. We don't quite know where they fit into the athletic world. And the Olympic Committee has done 20 years of studies on issues of hormone levels, of whether you need gender confirmation surgery, what can you do as a trans person to be able to compete as your authentic self? Right. And they've come up with guidelines. You meet those guidelines, you can compete. And obviously this woman did.
Do you think it's fair to the other girls?
I think it's totally fair. The Olympic Committee thinks it's fair. I'm fine with it, yes. Great. Yeah, because there's no issue, no big advantage.
There's of course a physical advantage. In that case, there was a big physical advantage.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to get into all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Physical, that has nothing to do with it. In fact, I'm pretty sure that with the Olympic Committee, you don't even have to have gender confirmation surgery. It's just how long you've been on hormones, how long you've done this and that. So, yeah.
Okay, so this is
To be
my
able to
final
compare.
question. Because this is a subject that's evolving, I think pretty rapidly for a lot of people, that may change after your book comes out, but do you think it's possible for people to be people of goodwill, people of faith, people of generous spirits, but to be confused at least, or baffled, and say, I'm not exactly sure I understand this, but still be good people?
They do not understand gender identity. They understand sexuality.
Right.
You know, the old saying is, sexuality is who you sleep with. You
Right.
know, gender identity is who you go to bed as. It's a totally different subject, and you cannot compare sexuality and gender identity. And it's a hard thing. Honestly, I've been fighting this war for the last couple of years, and I don't even think in my lifetime most people will get it. But we need to bring this subject forward. Why? Because of the youth, and that's what I talk about in my book a lot. I'm fine. Everything in my life is good. I've been very lucky. But what I'm fighting for is the next generation coming up, so they can have it easier for them. So that's where the fight is. I mean, with our suicide rates and all the problems that we have, yeah, we got a lot of work to do, and a lot of trying to for people to understand the issues.
Right. Caityn Jenner, thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.